Hi, I'm Beth Siddle. I'm a second year PhD student at the University of East Anglia in the Environment Department. My project is looking at the interaction between the atmosphere and the ocean, and this is done using autonomous vehicles, which are basically uncrewed ocean robots. The thing I work with in particular is a surface vehicle called an Autonaut, but I'm part of a group that also uses robots that go down to 1,000 metres in the water to collect information on the ocean. So I'm here to talk a little bit about myself as a scientist, but as well the journey that brought me here, what qualifications I took, what I did at university, and hopefully having this information will give you some insight in what it's like to be a scientist and maybe help you with making some difficult decisions about what to do about your own future if you're interested in science. So I think the most sensible place to start is back with my A-level choices. I stayed on at my same school to go to sixth form, and I chose to do further maths AS and then maths, physics and chemistry as A-levels. So I decided to go pretty general for science. I enjoyed science. I'd always found things interesting and wanted to know how things worked, and science seemed like a natural sort of route to go down. I didn't really know what I wanted to do at this point. I'd been interested in engineering for years, but wasn't really sure what was going to come next. So whilst I was in my A-levels, I applied to go to university through the UCAS in the usual way, and I got an offer from the University of York. Now this was actually to study chemistry, and that was what I thought I wanted to do. I loved it during my A-levels, but that's not the way things quite worked out. So I got this place to do chemistry, and when it came down to getting my A-level grades, I didn't quite get what I needed to get on the course. And so they wouldn't take me for chemistry, but they'd take me for natural sciences. And so I ended up going off to the University of York to study natural sciences. And as part of that degree, I studied a combination of subjects, and I actually ended up studying a combination of maths, chemistry and physics. And as scary as it sounds, not getting the degree course you had as your first choice was actually the best thing that happened to me, because my scientific career wouldn't have gone this way if it wasn't for that. And actually I love what I do now. So first point to take from this: it's okay if things don't quite work out as expected. So we come to university, and I'm at the University of York doing my natural sciences course. I'd got onto a integrated masters, so it's going to be a full year undergraduate. And by my second year I'd realised that chemistry wasn't for me. And so I ended up specialising into physics within this course. And when it came to my fourth year, where I was writing my dissertation and master's project, I needed to find what sort of project would suit me best. I'd at this point done a summer internship in atmospheric chemistry, and I loved it. We were looking at greenhouse gases, and I found the research side of things absolutely fascinating, but I knew that chemistry wasn't quite right for me. So when it came to my master's project, I took on a project that was still a little bit chemistry based, but it was actually plasma physics. For those of you that don't know anything about plasmas, a plasma is like the fourth state of matter. It's like an ionised gas. And so I was looking at using the physics of this to help with reducing carbon dioxide emissions. And again, I found this project really fascinating. I loved doing the research, I loved doing the work, finding out whether or not this was viable, but I wasn't quite sure it was the right science for me long term. I'd realised that I wanted to stay in science, but I wasn't really sure where to go after my degree. So when it came to graduating from the University of York, I wasn't entirely sure where to go next. I thought about some grad schemes, and I actually ended up stumbling across some PhD projects, one of which is the project that I'm on now. And something I want to talk to you a little bit about is changing careers and finding the right path. I loved what I did throughout my research. It wasn't always easy, but I enjoyed it, I had a passion for it, and I knew that that was the area I wanted to carry on working in terms of general science. But it took me a while to find out what specific thing was right for me. And I think what I want you guys to hopefully take away from this is that you don't have to get it right first time. I tried chemistry, I ended up in physics, I went into plasma physics, and then I was fortunate enough to have a set of supervisors who were willing to take a chance on me and let me change topic. And I did, and now I work in environment, in oceanography. And I finally found the science that I'm really passionate about. But you guys are at such an early stage in your scientific careers that it's okay if you don't know exactly where you want to be yet. You know, I didn't know, and it took a long time to find out, and it took a lot of trying the wrong routes. And I think the important thing is to go away and learn the core skills, learn about how to be a good researcher, learn how, like, the fundamentals of the science that you're interested in. And then if you decide that the specialism isn't quite right for you, you've got those core skills and you can go to someone and say, look, I understand this maths, I understand this physics, this chemistry, this biology, wherever you end up, but I don't quite want to be in this area anymore. And if you've got that passion and that drive and that understanding and can show that, then people are willing to help you change topic. And I think that's fantastic and fascinating, and I'm always going to be grateful for my supervisors for letting me do that. So one of the questions I've been asked is, how is what I do relevant to you? And I think my answer to that would be the science, the maths that you are learning now are the fundamentals for if you want to carry on in science. These things will come up. The last week of my work has been spent entirely using trigonometry to solve some maths problems to do with some wind data from my surface vehicle. And so don't underestimate the importance of the lessons you are having now. It's not just about passing that GCSE exam, it's not just about passing that A-level, it's about gaining that knowledge that will help you through the rest of a scientific career if that's something that interests you. Another thing I've been asked is, what do I want to do for my future career? I think that's a really difficult question even now. I found a topic that I love, that I'm interested in, and I'd love to stay in this field of research. I'd love to carry on working on the technology that I work with, looking at the science. And I think for me, through my PhD, through these extra opportunities that arise, things like this, where I get to do outreach, where I get to do science communication, I've really found a passion for that. And I hope my future career, wherever that ends up, enables me to carry on doing those sorts of things. So I think for me it would make sense to stay within a university environment as an academic, but that doesn't mean going into industry is off the cards. You know, I think, keep yourself open to any opportunities that might come along, and don't say no to something until you've tried it, because you might actually find it is the thing for you. So I want to talk a little bit about what I do in the day-to-day of my job. At the moment, I work from home. This has become my office. And whilst I'm doing office work, I quite often be looking at reading literature, the latest papers to do with my research area. I'll be looking at doing data analysis, or even just organising the data that has come from previous fieldwork that we've done. And that's the other side of my PhD actually. When I'm not at the office, I have the opportunity to go out and do fieldwork. So the fieldwork that I've done so far was working from Barbados and in the tropical North Atlantic on a German research ship called the RV Meteor. And I was lucky enough to spend 6 weeks working on the ship at the start of 2020. Whilst I'm on the ship, we don't have your standard week with a weekend. You basically work your shift every day, so you're working 7 days a week. But you do also get downtime, just not necessarily at your conventional 9 to 5 times. And living and working with such a diverse international group of people is an amazing experience, and I learned so much about so many different research areas. But that I think has probably been the highlight of my career so far. And it was a phenomenal experience, and that has come up through my PhD, that's come up through being a scientist and getting, and an oceanographer, the opportunity to go out in the field and really collect the data, see firsthand where these numbers that we work on comes from. And that was an amazing experience, and these are the sorts of experiences that are open to anybody who wants to go into a field like this. So my final take-home message to you, I think, in this video is it's okay if you don't have it all worked out yet. You know, if you get an opportunity, grab it and go for it and see if you enjoy it. And if you do, fantastic, that's something you could maybe pursue further. But if it's not, that's okay too. Maybe it's not quite for you, and it's okay to step back and go and try something else. Don't let anybody tell you that science isn't for girls, because that's just not true. Science is for everyone. It's about a passion, it's about an interest and a desire to do this research. And if you've got that, then no one can stop you.